What about things people should not do in mobile? I mean, there's some basics, right? Don't not go mobile. Don't ignore the fact that people are utilizing mobile devices. But are there any kind of known errors or missteps that a lot of companies do? I mean, you have already noted that we should have contact information. So obviously, an error would be not having easy access contact information or not having easy access maps. But are you seeing anything else, or has there been like a known issue in the industry as far as mobile that people are just effing up?
I'll just throw one thing. I sort of leaned or touched on it with consistency. The not to do, in my personal opinion or my pet peeve, is having a totally different look and feel on your desktop and tablet versus your phone. You have to reorient yourself. Just think of how the brain works. Like, you're looking for a site that you're familiar with. If it looks totally different on the phone, you have to think all over again about where am I, what am I doing? So again, going back to that original concept of make your strategy consistent, get everything out on the table about what you're trying to communicate. Think about all the platforms you're going to be doing it on, and thinking about how you can make your branding and your look and feel, and then your usability consistent and helpful for whatever device you're on.
I don't ever use Flash. Steve Jobs got us to sell one. It does not work on mobile devices. It's really heavy. Also, optimize your images for mobile to load times faster. Obviously, you're going to be on a desktop. You have a higher connectivity versus when you're connected on mobile. On about, you might have a smaller bandwidth, so making sure it's light and can load easier and faster. I would say, and also add things in like social sharing. Realize that people are going to be doing these type of things from the device, and also they're going to don't do that pinching, that old school, like you pinch the site together or bigger. Like, that's a horrible design. Don't ever do that. It's the worst user experience. It was kind of the first idea of responsive, that you just pinch it. Nobody wants to be pinching anything.
Does anyone know what that means? It's when you scroll your finger like this to make an image bigger or smaller.
Yeah, you pinch it out. You like pinch it in, push it. And that's the worst user experience. Don't do that. That isn't mobile ready for your devices. Really find a format that works, whether responsive or a blog format. Just make sure that also, most people now, the devices are touch, so know that where you're touching, it is also have to be a little bit easier for your finger, things like that. If it's too small, no one's going to be able to read it or touch on a mobile device. Remember that. Not everyone can see that easily. Some people, girls have, so silly, but girls have nails. It's harder to touch. Guys think, if you make things too small on a mobile device, it is hard for the user experience. And it seems kind of silly and simple, but really making people's life easier is what the key to mobile is.
Yeah, I want to spend a little bit on the typography that we're kind of alluding to. Minimum font size for mobile is 16 pixels, right? Don't make it less than that, because otherwise you're going to get the pinching all the time, frustrating users.
Did you say 16?
16, yeah.
Pixels.
That's a base. You can take this.
Oh yeah, you have to speak louder. Yeah.
Sorry.
Aussie people.
16 pixels. The other thing is focus on mobile sites. So one thing that we've been getting a lot from customers, or a request from customers at YP, is how can I build my own app? Do you need an app? That's the main question, right?
The answer is no, people. Why apps shake on your phone when you push them? Because they're afraid of being deleted.
So you don't need an app. What you need is a real online presence. You need a good website, you need social presence, you need anything that you do, but don't build an app. An app is not useful, unless you are selling an app, right? But that's coming a lot from restaurants and plumbers and lawyers. I'm like, okay, I don't think so.
Meanwhile, there are billions of apps that nobody uses that launch every single day that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
Unless you have enough money to cut through that clutter, it's easier to get a mobile responsive website. It's cheaper and easier to have a mobile responsive website.
And also say, don't. One thing I really hate as a user is I already have your app downloaded, but I'm using your website and it tries to tell me to download your app. Horrible user experience. I have your app, I'm using your website, let me continue where I already am as a user. I see this frequently, and then makes me leave the whole experience. So that's I don't know, unless you really need your gaming, where you're doing app, inside the game, you need something offline usage. It takes a lot of effort to market an app, to download it, to get users to experience it. A website is such a one overall experience. It's gotten so much better for GPS, location-based, things like that you used to have to do with an app. Unless you're going to build a game, I don't know what else you have to do unless you have a lot of money and you want to spend a lot of time offline that you would need a mobile app.
I just have one last thing I remembered. First of all, I love what you said about don't force them to use the app, and there's even some shameful talk, like it'll shame you. Like, why are you still using it? It's like, because I want to. Anyway, my other tip that I just remembered was always remember that tappable that hover states do not necessarily work on mobile design. So there's so many times, even myself, I catch myself like, oh, we can hover that, and I was like, no, we can't. You have to do 2 taps, or you have to think about the way it works in terms of mobile. So it's a good reminder as you're designing.